Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribe Star. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the well, actually, it's for the last week. This is Red Pill Nation number 412. We did 411 yesterday because I was sick for most of the week, and I was not really in the mood to be doing a do 411 until yesterday. So that was for last week. 412 is for this week. Kind of a laid back week almost compared to what happened the week before, but some very interesting stuff as always. I am your host, Naroki5. With me tonight is, of course, my usual partner in crime and the guy who is having a fire sale on all his used GIMP suits. They're not repaired or anything, so you will have to get a seamstress, and don't worry about the awkward looks that any sewer gives you when you hand them in to him. But yeah, a lot of his old GIMP suits are for sale. Rearson, introduce yourself.
You complete douchebag.
Well, you had to get rid of that Donald Duck one sooner or later, dude.
Oh, I was going to try to do something with Donald Duck's voice, but I just can't do it, and I'm not going to bother. Ladies, you don't fucking understand male humor at this point in your life, whatever that will be. You have no fucking hope in hell. Mary, you ugly fucking fat slutty cow. Yeah, it's not the same. It's just not the same. Naroki, go fuck yourself. I love you, man, but just go fuck yourself. With or without the Jaguar Uranus. Anyway, we'll leave that alone.
The 2025 Jaguar Uranus. Yes, what a wonderful car. Comes in 18 shades of brown. And of course, pink and sky blue for the lady boys.
And with every color on the Alphabet Mafia representation, because Lord knows they don't fucking know their head from their fucking ass. Anyway.
And ladies, it has vibrational attachments, and it also powers up with the new MAGA sperg generator. And it just vibrates. So just picture yourself driving along in the Jaguar 2025 6969. Driving around wearing your tinfoil hat from Tinfoil Hats R Us, while pleasuring yourself with Orange Man Bad Handball powering your vehicle with the MAGA sperg generator. Yes, sir.
Because Lord knows your husband doesn't do it enough for you.
Yep. Jaguar 969 coming to auto dealerships near you. You're up.
In more ways than one.
and if you buy one with the next 24 hours, it comes with the Camelot Camel Toe flashlight.
Good God! I need another fucking beer. Good God, man! At least warn us before you say that kind of shit. Fuck! Oh, I gotta crack another beer. Good God! Oh, I'm so ruined.
Be sure to get your camel toe and your 12-pack of baby oil. Oh,
sorry. Okay, cool. My stomach's empty. I'm good.
Well, I'm me, of course. I'm thinking about my merry holiday. Thinking about naked in a baby pool filled with eggnog and of for my holiday delights. Just having these two just real as I say is freaking hilarious. Yes, okay. Humor, male humor. What do you mean male humor? You mean humor, period, right? Anyways, yes, I'm the host of the Redfield Hardcore Radio Show. Coming up soon to be back on the air. And let's get on with this funny show.
Yep, as you can clearly see, we have incredibly high standards. Oh, wait. We have no standards.
No standards. What standards? Besides, the usual entourage doing their best to roast each other at every opportunity, just because we're guys and that's what we do. That
exactly. All right. So, for those of you who don't know, I am at Patreon as Naroki5. I am, despite some individual out there who's wants to just harass me just for the sake of harassing me at this point. I am still, and I know you're listening to this, hater, I am still at BitChute, Rumble, MGTOW TV, Odyssey, Bradion, and YouTube. Doesn't that just piss you right the fuck off? I am also still up at Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, and Getter. Suck on it, hater. Like, really, suck on it. I mean, like you just have no life of your own.
Suck on it like Monica did.
We can really make it solid by giving you your own permanent section on the Liberty Beacon Media Project news website. If you just give me some articles with these shows.
Hey, hey, hater. Why don't you contact V? Why don't you give him your rant? He'll post it up. We can all use the good fucking laugh. Since you think you seem to know me so well. But anyway, the topics for tonight. You know what? I'll take it even one step further. You got to get such a hard on for me. Why don't you come on Skype? Why don't you come on this show? I'll have you on this show. You can scream and yell at me for however long you want to scream and yell at me. You can, instead of hiding in the shadows like a sniveling little coward. And oh, by the way, the fact that I'm talking about you right now on this show does not equate to me being triggered. You chose to be a snivelly little coward. You've chosen to go after multiple social media accounts over the past few days, and you're trying to do it without revealing who you are. That makes you a sniveling little coward. I got more respect for, say, the guy at the Come On Man podcast, or somebody who, and this has happened a couple times, somebody actually has mentioned our show on Twitter and commented about how we're both desperate incels, but at least the guy stepped out into the open and did it. You don't even have the balls to do that. You sneak around behind my back and try to get my accounts. Like, yeah, you have such an issue with me. Come on the show. We'll talk. Yeah, you can make your point right to my face. That clear enough for you? So, yeah, let's talk about the actual topics tonight. Topic number 1, Joe Biden pardons his son, Hunter Biden, for all offenses going back to 2014. Topic number 2, United Health CEO Brian Thompson killed in broad daylight. Topic number 3, Daniel Penny, the charges were dropped. Topic number 4, Hawk Tuah girl exposed in scam after Coffeezilla exposes her. That's not as front and center as you think it is. 5, Leftist Canadians sperg out when Trump makes joke about Canada becoming the 51st state. And topic number 6, Trudeau announces new gun ban on automatic weapons. So let's just get into this. All right, topic number 1. Now, there's a lot of things, and we will probably cover some of the other ones that have been occurring beyond just what Joe Biden did. But this is probably, if Joe Biden was going to pardon anyone, Hunter would probably be at the top of the list. So I'm not overly surprised about this. What really stands out is that he pardoned Hunter for everything going back to before he started working with Burisma, basically before they started getting involved in the Ukraine. And, you know, it was very peculiar, very suspicious. And it's not the only thing that the Biden administration has been doing. The Biden administration has been, for instance, the EPA is suddenly being flooded with money, and it's being sent out to all of these these nonprofit environmentalist organizations. They keep trying to, although apparently Congress has put a bit of a kibosh on it, they were trying to get as much money to the Ukraine as humanly possible. They are funneling money out as fast as they can. Celebrities, of course, which we haven't gone in, which we won't cover too much in this, but a lot of them are leaving the country as fast as they can. There's just a lot of stuff here. Now, I'm currently listening to Red Pill Nation 406, which is the post-election show, and you know, I did come up with a rather long list of people with whom Trump is probably not out of line for settling a score with, and that is a very, very long line. But yeah, I have to remind people that Joe Biden is still the president, and he still will remain the president till January 20th. What really blows my mind is that it's like they're still trying to push the J6 agenda. They're still, I like literally while we were talking, I found a Twitter post where somebody was saying, "Oh, they're not going to allow Donald Trump to take office because of J6," and it's like, no, that's been shot dead out of the water. The conviction in New York City has also been dismissed, so he's not a convicted felon anymore. So the 14th, using the 14th Amendment is not going to work. And it's like, and their most recent one, and this is laughable when you consider the amount of money that got poured into the Democrat Party, is that they're trying to claim that Elon Musk bought the presidency. Oh, and Russia. Don't forget. Yes, they're still going with Russia. That Elon Musk and the Russians bought the presidency for Donald Trump this time around. Never mind the fact that Kamala Harris had like 3 times the amount of contributions go into her campaign, and she still went over budget by a significant amount, by the way. And, you know, I'm not going to say that the Democrats are guilty of the things that they have been charged with, but looking at it from 1,000 feet up and looking at what they're doing, and looking how they're moving money around and how people are leaving and how Joe Biden is now on there's rumors that he's going to be pardoned. Like there's like Nancy Pelosi is going to get pardoned. Anthony Fauci is going to get pardoned, right? Like they're lining up a whole truckload of pardons for him. He's acting like a guy, and like the whole Democrat administration is acting like a group of people that are desperately trying to cover their asses before Trump takes office. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Well, wow. That's just lots to uncover right there. It's such a short period of time. Yeah, I mean, well, for one, Biden, a lot of people are just like, Biden hasn't pardoned his son, and that's been the talk for like the past 6 months. He's not pardoning his son. I told people, just wait till Biden becomes disgraced. No point in saving face at all. He's going to put his tail between he can and vomit. And that's exactly what's happening. He dropped out of the race, and now, as his last act as president, he's going to pardon his son. Because the only platform, his son, well, besides Joe, Sleepy Joe himself, Creepy Joe, not having the vote of confidence from anybody because he's creepy, the next thing, his son. His son is this old. Because he was going to be able to actually successfully having not being dealt with. Hunter Biden actually may be a criminal of the worst variety, but he still did us all a favor and killed his father's second administration. Killed it. So people may be thinking, oh, well, he's getting off. He's a criminal, getting off. Yeah, he might be a criminal getting off, but again, he saved the country of 4 years of New World Order stress. Because New World Order's been working their agenda heavily through the invalid known as Joe Biden. So, to evils, tell crackhead son to get the F out. That's that's fine. I'm fine with that. I really am. As far as people leaving the country, because Trump is. Listen, I've had many people close to me say they're going to move out of the country if Trump gets into office, and I'm just sort of sitting at my desk with my hand in my palm, resting. The other hand doing number, just waiting. I don't think you're going anywhere. I as far as I know, I'm the only person that does that. Well, things get a little rough. It's time for me to go to another country. I'm the only globetrotter I know. I hope not to leave. I've got so much business here in the States. But, had Biden actually went to office again, stayed in office, yeah, I would have done my business here real quick. And actually, I don't know, probably, to tell you the truth, probably would be stuck here. I was doing good over in Europe. Over there in Europe, in ball for middle class. Now I come here, it's like, holy crap. I gotta find a cheap place for rent. So it's I don't know. It'd be a bad time to leave the country because I do believe the dollar is going to go back up in value. Yay! Because the economy is going to get much better. I guarantee you by the first 6 months of Trump being in office, the dollar's going to go back up. So if people want to leave the country, hey, that's fine with me. Yeah, it's between people anyways. Just if a third of the country would just move somewhere, that'd be great. That's just a lane, highway for me, so I get to where I go. Yeah, that'd be great. But anyways, yeah, the pardons. If Fauci gets a pardon, well, I don't know. I keep seeing conflicting news about Fauci, whether he's going to be up on charges or he's not going to be up on charges. But if he gets a pardon while not being up on charges, well, that doesn't mean anything. Charges can be brought back against him when Trump comes into play, and I hope that is the case. So, yeah, with that, I'll pass it on to you, Pearson.
I just about blew a gasket on this one. And overall, I just took a few steps back and just like, well, let's see what the alt community has to say about this one. And what came up was rather interesting. Is that if you've been pardoned for past, current, or future crimes, when the time comes that you have to testify, you don't have a Fifth Amendment to hide behind. You have to tell them. You have to answer. Now, in terms of Biden, as far as I'm concerned, that's not his father. His father is long gone, long enough gone anyway. And I've heard enough rumor that Biden just couldn't stand his dad, but when you're trapped, what else can you do except, in that instance, swim with the sharks? And as I said, honestly, as far as I'm honestly concerned, Biden is not the guy that's the same person that he was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He does have a tendency to call himself the masked president. M-A-S-K-E-D. Whether that's the diaper over the mouth or, well, you just never know what's under the skin, shall we say. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we talked
Is that
about...
a BDSM terminology?
Nope. Nope. I mean, if you want to make it that your terminology, by all means, you do you. No gimp suits happening over here. Just saying. But as I was going to say, in terms of Matt Gaetz and whatever else that was coming out against him for whatever may or may not have been going on, I don't know. And he had to step down. There's so much going on below the surface that for pretty much all of us that are scraping by and doing what it takes to live and to survive and, you know, the usual daily challenges that we just don't have the time. Most people, myself included, well, I have the time, but I don't have the inclination to try to look deeper than maybe I could or should. I don't know. Excuse me. So when this one came up, I was like, what the fucking hell is going on here? But honestly, I'm at the point now just kind of going, whatever. There's a big 3D, 4D chess game that's involved, and at this point now, I'm here along for the ride. And I'm kind of saying to the next person beside me, is like, oh, look at that, fucking bitch is gonna die. Oh, he's done. You know, I'm trying not to be that spoiler alert for everybody else. So what will happen and how it happens, I don't know. But like I said, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, Hunter's father, that's not the guy that's not the guy on the screen. It's just not. But we'll leave that alone. So take that however you will. You're working. I'm gonna throw that one back to you.
Yeah. I find it very interesting that if he's pardoned, that doesn't protect anybody else that worked underneath him. Yeah. That again, there's always a yin to a yang, right? There's always an opposite. There's always a reaction, an opposite reaction to every action. So yeah, this might not be the happy. I mean, yeah, no, Hunter Biden won't go to jail, but you know, certainly a few assistants will. Just like Jack Smith might not necessarily get into trouble immediately, but the people who worked immediately but under Jack Smith are still in a world of trouble. That's something to consider here. So, but anyway, let's just get on with the next topic here. Let me just when my glasses are fogging up tonight, but they are. All right, so the next topic here. All right, so Brian Thompson. I got into a little bit of trouble on Instagram for pointing this out to a few people because there's a few leftists out there that were actually celebrating. Because what happened is the CEO of United Health, which is a medical insurance company, was killed in broad daylight by, it looked like a hit. which is, and they haven't caught the guy yet. They've got him on video. They've got him basically squaring up or checking out the space ahead of time. They are slowly but surely zooming in on him. So there isn't a motive. People were initially trying to blame his wife because his wife was a beneficiary of a whole lot of money because he got killed in cold blood, but that turned out to not be the case. The issue, and here's the thing, Brian Thompson had been receiving multiple death threats over the previous few months, and he hadn't bothered to hire any security because it's like, you know, like when you get death threats online, it's like, you know, it could be disconcerting. I personally have had 3 of them. They can be a little bit shocking, and then you have to like think it through, and you suddenly realize that in order for this person to find you, they have to make a really hard, consistent effort to try and find you. And, you know, Brian Thompson Brian Thompson was definitely a little bit careless. The issue here isn't the fact that it happened. But I mean, when you take a couple of steps back here, and I'm going to take a look at this from both the manosphere and, strangely enough, the remaining leftist part of me is actually going to come out here because I've known 2 individuals one of whom died because the insurance company kept dicking around. By the way, this is Canada, not the United States, but just kept dicking around on paying for a procedure until it was too late for the person to get the procedure, and they died. Very common, actually. The concept of the death panel in Canada is a very real thing. They don't talk about it, but there is like literally a medical panel in some provinces. They have to sit there and they literally have to decide who gets medical treatment and who doesn't in a given month. And they have to ration it out. And it's, you know, if you can
You still there?
His mic probably fucked up on him as well too. It did yesterday.
I thought they had free health care in Canada.
Well, it's only as free as tax money is available. It does get.
That's why he's saying rationing it out.
It gets rationed out, and it gets rationed out a lot. You may not pay for your necessary MRI or whatever the case may be. And Neuroki, you know, it takes your situation and come in when you do. Up here, it's not uncommon for an MRI to take.
Okay, so yeah, there are like literal death panels, and as Rearson was talking, unfortunately, before we got like literally the entire net cut out where I was. Yeah, they decide who lives, who dies, and it's not a particularly good situation. The United States is not much better. Yet you have insurance, but yeah, and they will do it even with people with life-threatening conditions. And this pisses a lot of people off, obviously. And, you know, some of those people at some point are probably willing to exact revenge. And Brian Thompson was unfortunately one of them. Now, one of the really weird things about this is that they do actually have footage of this guy, of the killer's face. And Aristophilia has come into play, and there's actually women swooning over this guy because he's got a very pretty face and a very nice smile, apparently.
I'm swooning over the guy. No homo, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, to quote one guy in the Manosphere, it said like, females have this really weird, bizarre, because Zoltar Tsarnaev also, that the Boston marathon bomber, also had a lot of female fans, whatever, because he was so handsome. And which is really weird because it's like, yeah, they just committed mass murder. So there's a lot going on here. Yes, they are starting to track this guy down. It's the way it occurred too. It occurred out in like in broad daylight, out in the middle of nowhere. The FBI and the NYPD and several other law enforcement agencies are putting a fair amount of money into this because it's very obvious, because they got this guy on footage the day before not being smart to cover up his face when he was basically casing the area out, and they got him on video. So I mean, they also got the place where he was staying before this occurred, so he wasn't super smart in terms of covering up his tracks. Now, again, from the leftist point of view, though, having witnessed somebody die and having seen the frustration of dealing with insurance companies when it comes to medical expenses, and in particular life-saving medical expenses, the fact that there are leftists celebrating this isn't that big of a surprise. It's like I can't remember what it's called. Workman's compensation in Canada is an absolute nightmare to deal with. I've heard stories from a family member who had to deal with with it. My stepdad had to deal with ICBC at one point, way back about 30 odd years ago. It's a very frustrating thing, and it really the way the medical, in particular in Canada, I don't know so much in the States, but the way the medical system is designed in Canada, medically assisted suicide to a certain degree, and the way the Canadian government was offering it up for a while, is actually understandable. Although still very immoral the way they were doing it. And I don't approve of it. And no, I don't approve of even somebody like the United Health CEO getting killed in broad daylight over something that one of his executives probably did. Because I mean, I'm going to bet you when and if they do catch this guy, it's gonna tie back to somebody who was a client of United Healthcare. He's going to be related to somebody, or he was going to be hired by somebody who was a client of United Healthcare who had a relative who didn't get the treatment that they required in a timely manner because an executive at United Health Center kept jerking them around and kept giving them more and more hoops to jump through, as opposed to just giving the person the life-saving treatment. And yes, there have been a lot of people that have died because of that. I don't want to be an unsympathetic prick here, but I mean, I was an NDP voter up until about 10 years ago. And if you take my political compass test, I'm still center right. I'm still classically liberal, right? I understand where this frustration, this anger is coming from. And I understand why people are celebrating this guy's death. I mean, the medical insurance industry is corrupt as fuck. just like almost just they're not as bad as, say, the vaccine companies. They're corrupt as fuck. And that's my backstory. I wouldn't be surprised that this ties into somebody who didn't get the necessary treatment that they required because somebody at United Health just kept fucking the person's relative over. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Oh, I'm frothing over here. Yeah. Well, this is where you and I will disagree. I believe that if you jerk around with other people's lives, then your life becomes forfeit.
Oh, dude, I'm not disagreeing with you. This guy's, it's still, though. It's still murder, right? I actually agree with you.
Call it what it may. But it doesn't. What you said earlier in the show, for every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. People need to be prepared for their actions for anything they do. People need to be prepared for it. If they're going to gamble with people's lives, well, then your life gets put on the table to be gambled with as well. As above, so below. These feds that for everything that do. They don't know, which is for me why they backed off of me, because they know So this guy is concerned. Yeah, he's what's that actor's name? Donnie Darko. That guy.
Johnny Depp.
Looks like him.
Johnny Depp.
No. No. But anyways, yeah, he's actually isn't the same guy who played the Prince of Persia. He's got this Assassin's
Jake
Creed.
Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes. So it looks like in one picture I've seen. So lovable face. And he's basically Robin Hood. Taking out the rich for not taking care of the poor. I hate that things have to get violent, but pain is a great teacher. It's the teacher. Nobody to hurt. Free. So I tell you what, if these illnesses could just trade places with, they want that health care. Choose northern.
Now you're cutting out.
Just line their pockets. And I like this guy's style, by the way. He went true assassin on this. Only two types of weapons that you want to use. There's on the market. One, a real is bolt pistol. Long silencer on the end, and it's one shot. Cut. The virtually, you don't hear anything. So the next weapon up, and that's extremely, by the way, available weapon to use is this. It's a it's subsonic rounds. Okay, of course, it's got the silencer on it, but it's so the rounds are so light that it does not eat the cartridge. When you saw this guy shooting this pistol, he had to eject each out of each jacket out of the chamber. That means the rounds were too weak to eject. That's what you want, because the round is coming out live. So that's a lot of that boom comes from. So when that round's fired, the slide doesn't move, and you got silence in there, you're good to go. Virtually silence rounds. So this guy did his research. Okay, he knew what he was doing. Ask me how I know this stuff. Just let's not go there. But you know, at least the guy had. He wasn't some. His only downfall to me is he kept wearing the same stuff that he used. He was wearing when he assassinated this guy. He comes out of this place talking to somebody wearing the same coat, the Robin Hood hood on it, right? He's just going around wearing the same stuff. He should have burned those clothes right after the assassination and went back to looking like a normal citizen. But no, he's riding around town on his bike with this Assassin's Creed get up. So I don't know how you could be so smart. Well, okay, that he made two mistakes. Not only that, he did this on camera. Wait till he got to the guy to where there's no cameras around, and he would have got away with it.
This guy obviously wasn't a professional. I'm going to say it. This guy probably wasn't a professional.
He did his research, but he's not a professional. Right. So, either that, or he kind of doesn't care. He kind of wants to be caught. I think he was planning on probably doing a couple more hits. I think possibly, you know, his reason for living is gone. Maybe he lost a wife. Maybe he lost a child. You know, maybe he lost a parent. I think his reason for living is just about. He probably doesn't care, and he wants to be sure that the world knows that these people need consequences. And in either case, I'm actually glad this kind of thing happened, because these elitists, they need to understand consequences. That's why our world is so sick, is that these elitists, they don't understand consequences. Their money shields them from everything. That no longer needs to be the case. In the words of Vinny Paz, ain't nobody above a homicide. So, yeah. With that, I'm gonna get out of gangster mode here and pass it on over to Rearson.
I actually didn't really follow this story all that much. I mean, the CEO where I used to work, the family, but the only way to say it, they moved in with us commoners, and never cared for the Shaw family. That's all I'm going to say. When our family, in our house, all the kids do the dishes, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, bullshit, buddy. I mean, fuck, your brother died a lot sooner than he shouldn't have. Speculation is that he had a bit of a issue, which wouldn't surprise me at all. What I have heard about this incident, though, is that he was walking around with a tan backpack. And then at some point, all of a sudden, he was walking around with a white backpack. Don't know. I really don't care. Given the level of fuckery that has happened over the last 3 years, and apparently, and I can't confirm this, no, maybe V can, I don't know, but the insurance company that this guy was the CEO of was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the US, which wouldn't concern me as much. But I have to wonder how much they profited when Obamacare came through. So I've heard of horror stories of personal or family insurance that went through the roof because that half, whatever the hell you want to call them, I got a few choice words, but I'm not going to use them now. He made it almost impossible for there to be any form of competition to keep prices in line. And in my honest opinion, given the likelihood that, excuse me, given the likelihood of everything with the 1984 virus being, well, quite well coordinated, and no doubt his company was right there waiting for all this shit to happen, well, who knows? I certainly don't. And I'll be honest, I don't really feel like going down this rabbit hole, and have no interest in doing so. So, yeah, I don't have anything more to say in this matter. So, Naroki, it's all yours.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not without sympathy over for Brian Thompson. Yeah, you both have made valid points here. I'm going to stop short of saying this guy, he did his research, but I don't think he was a professional hitman, because I mean, I have actually read the book that was put out by Paladin Press called Hitman, and this dude made a lot of mistakes, such as having his face being seen, wearing the same jacket, that type of thing. It's like, yeah, you take a lot of precautions. I mean, he is probably going to eventually get caught, and like what V was saying, it wouldn't be any surprise at all if when it happens that it ends up being exposed that he had lost his wife, or there's definitely a familial connection, which is why he did what he did. But with that, let's get into the next topic here, because this one is also very interesting. This ties into that Michael Jackson impersonator who had a really severe drug problem and probably was also mentally insane as well. Now, as we all recall, and I actually posted up some videos about insane people on LRT and subway stations just acting completely out of line and pushing people onto the platform and doing all of those things and like harassing people and women and whatever, and nobody bothering to interfere or whatever. And like the individual who Daniel Penny stopped that day had a very long and extensive criminal record. He had assaulted multiple people. He had been caught. There's literally a video. It got taken down because this is the old Twitter when this happened. There's video of him defecating in the subway, like dropping his fucking drawers and taking a shit on the subway platform. And even for New York, that's going too far.
That brings a whole different view of drop trowel.
Yeah, so this guy was not an innocent Michael Jackson impersonator. He was probably mentally unstable. He had a really major drug problem. He was violent. And the day of, he was threatening a bunch of people on the subway. And he was threatening them to the point where he was actually potentially going to act out on it. And what happened is Daniel Penny and two other people who weren't trained former ex-military people, took him down, held him down, and Daniel Penny had him in basically what amounted to a chokehold and was holding him until the transit police arrived. They took a little bit too long to arrive, and like I say, the guy that Daniel Penny had in a chokehold, he had to keep him in a chokehold because he still kept struggling. And by the time the police got there, he was out of breath and he died. And I think he died in hospital, or he died en route or whatever. And it's like, that is, for all intents and purposes, manslaughter. I mean, you didn't intend on killing the guy, and he was harassing people, but he wasn't specifically. And this is the excuse that Alvin Bragg used. No, he wasn't. He was harassing people. He was threatening people, but he wasn't threatening Daniel Penny. Therefore, the excuse of self-defense cannot be used. And the Good Samaritan Act, where Daniel Penny intervened to make sure that somebody else didn't get harmed, doesn't necessarily apply. And Alvin Bragg, being a politician and not an actual court person, decided that this was going to be, because it's a case of a white guy restraining a black guy, so it has all the nice loaded racial connotations, and they did actually try to play up the race on this one. It didn't work nearly as well as they thought they had, because, like I said, by the time this started to get out, we're talking about that period in time just after Elon bought Twitter. So, Twitter and a lot of the mainstream media were not running cover for the Michael Jackson guy as much as they probably would have been safer like George Floyd. And by the way, I have the alt footage for George Floyd's arrest up at all my accounts except for YouTube. I'm not going to get into George Floyd, but this guy was there was foot. I also saw him in his Michael Jackson uniform attacking somebody on the street. There was that one of him shitting in the subway. So he was not a safe guy. But like I say, Alvin Bragg looked at the situation and saw potential to score some brownie points and score some political brownie points. So he decided to, and they almost had to, because technically speaking, this was a case of manslaughter. And it went to trial and whatever. And of course, it dragged out long enough that, it got into 2024 and it got up to the election time. And it got towards the end of the election. And all of a sudden, right, all of these cases that Alvin Bragg had accumulated to make himself look good, suddenly he doesn't look so good anymore, right? Suddenly he doesn't going after Daniel Penny to score brownie points with the African American community doesn't look like such a good idea anymore. So all of a sudden, the New York District Attorney's Office is backing off on Daniel Penny, and the charges sort of like the actual manslaughter charge gets dismissed, I'm going to have to point out, and I'm not a legal scholar by any stretch of the imagination here, but from a legal point of view, I can't remember who the name of the Michael Jackson impersonator was, but the Michael Jackson impersonator did not directly threaten Daniel Penny. Therefore, even though Daniel Penny was intervening to potentially protect someone else, he still, technically speaking, committed assault. So if in effect a crime still occurred. So I don't know specifically what he got sentenced to time served. He was able to walk out of the courthouse a free man, but he does have a criminal record. And it's not because Daniel Penny did anything wrong. I mean, Alvin Bragg should never have. Alvin Bragg was playing up the race card on this one big time. The issue was that he chose to make this political, and he chose to play the race card and to go to bat for a person he probably shouldn't have gone to bat for. And this compromise solution where Daniel Penny got sentenced to time served and has a criminal record, but is not going to go to jail for manslaughter or anything like that, is kind of like the middle ground that I was kind of expecting might have happened in this particular case. Happy that Daniel Penny's not going to jail, but I'm going to quote somebody because I actually posted up a video that was done by Andrew Tate at the time. I might have to go find it again. Andrew Tate said, and I'm not saying this as a fan of Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate had the best take on this that I found. If I see somebody on a subway or on a street harassing someone else now, and this was his exact words, I am not going to intervene. The reason why if I'm in the United States, I'm not going to or a Western country, I'm not going to intervene. I am not going to intervene because the law is so fucked up that I could intervene. I could stop somebody from being harmed, and the person that I was trying to protect everybody else from can come back at me with a civil or criminal case and have it be taken seriously. And he's right. Being the Good Samaritan doesn't help anymore. And like I said, at the time, I found another video of another rather insane, and yeah, he happened to be black, of another insane African-American guy who literally physically held down a woman in front of multiple witnesses, and the woman, you could see that the woman is absolutely scared shitless, and then the guy just basically walks away and gets off the train. And it's none of these guys intervened, and there's women screaming, oh, why didn't any of you guys intervene? Why didn't any of you guys people intervene? Well, did you see what happened with Daniel Penny? Why would they? That's how fucked up the justice system is. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Okay, well, I'm going to work retroactively on stuff that she's been. So there's a comedian named Bobby Kelly. Now, he talked about this, I believe, on the Uninformed podcast, or I don't know. It was Bill Burr and Joe DeRosa, and he was talking about goon arm. You got to give it the goon. So basically, what he does, he's with his woman, right? And they're both acting. So he'll take his woman by the arm and she's like, move with her, walk with her really fast, talking cash to her, and just to see if anybody would intervene. I think it's a sick game. And yes, they're suing people for ridiculous things. I know of an instance in the news where a guy literally saves a woman from drowning, pulls her out of this body of water, and gives her CPR, resuscitates her. She comes back later with a lawsuit saying that he had no permission to touch her and she was sexually assaulted. So yeah, you don't. The thing is, what I don't know if you said this or not, but Noki, the thing is, whenever you come to New York or LA, any places like that, and you see activity like that, a lot of times, and there's a reason why people don't get involved. A lot of times, it's just a ploy to rob you. So you'll see a back alley way or something like that. You intervene, next thing you know, they both got guns on you. And they rob you. So that's why a lot of people are not getting involved. In the series I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be debunking CIA mind control expert, because he talked about how society has just become socialistic, because people won't help other people in distress, and why people would rather pull out their phones and record. Many good reasons why you do not and so balls on our video of his mind control expert stuff, and I'm gonna just it is all garbage. I'm gonna debunk the thing he says with real psychology. And for these people that these CIA who aren't on the level, these guys are controlled disinformation agents. Okay. So that's just a side tangent. And I don't know anything about the story, to be honest with you. I've been actually trying a few minutes some hot Tuah girl stuff, so topic. But I'm going to talk to my contacts at Paramount and see if we get something rolling. But I have this idea of a movie. It's featuring this guy who gets possessed by the ghost of Michael Jackson, and he gets all his dancing moves as superpowers, and he goes across the city being a superhero. And he's trying to clear his name of pedophilia charges. I think that'd be a great movie. You go see something like that, wouldn't you?
Be interesting.
Be like stopping bank robbers, doing this like kick moves, kicking the guns out of their hands, kicking them in the nuts, like it was like kung fu. Oh, I might. Anyways, yeah. The thing about the subway people, these are people who have just. It's a different kind of world. You got these people with mental issues, or you got the government targeting people, trying to flip them out as false flag shooters or whatnot. You got a lot of people who have this artificial psychoses being dumped onto them by various elements of society. And being in a city like New York, you need help. You're surrounded by people who just treat you like you're invisible. So you got to get a gimmick and try to do something for yourself. As a person who has no job opportunities, no family, no nothing, you don't have anything. I mean, I can just imagine the mental hell one would have to be in order to try to stay alive there. I mean, Bill Burr has a joke. I can only tell you, I don't remember the joke itself, but the premise was that he had some relatives visit, and then Sunday, and there's a guy sleeping in the subway, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go help this man. I'm gonna go give him money, and it's like Bill Burr's like stopping this person, like, no, you don't do that. The next thing you know, this guy gets up and like pretty much just starts urinating. So none of us can relate. I guess that's my point. None of us can relate. None of us have been in that position of being surrounded by people who could help. You're asking for help, and nobody will help you. Now, I spent my days homeless as a runaway from home. I spent my days homeless as a homeless vet, and just being surrounded by generally good people. And I never asked for a handout, not once. I kept to myself. I got work wherever I could. If I had a friend that could let me lend me their couch for a week or so at a time, that was great. But, that's just the differences in our worlds. Thousands upon thousands of people that could lend a hand versus maybe between 30 people out in public at a time. And I could probably ask each and every one of them for, $1, so $15, $20, no problem. That's the contrast. In all situations, you got to pick yourself up. You got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. So, minds. I'm crying on the inside right now because, there's just so many mental prisons and there's so many mental hells. Guys like him, these people walk by, they're in their own mental prison. They're in their own cell block. And the guards say, no, you can't give him change. That's a societal. And this guy, he's in his own mental hell. Calling people crazy, I mean, I think a person on the ground needing help, versus people walking by seeing that and not helping. I think the latter is crazy. Call the former crazy if you want to, but I call that's just the world we live in. And with that, I would like to pass it to Rierson, but it doesn't seem like he's here.
Yeah, Rierson, I just had the tap out for tonight, so yeah, so
okay, so I have time to research Taco Girl.
Well, we'll I mean, we're not going to drag this out just for the sake of dragging it, because the last two topics are Canadian topics. Just saying.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, let's just get into the next topic here, because this one is kind of interesting. Mostly because Hawk 2, who, by the way, I had heard of but had never really paid attention to, because it's like one fucking thought. I mean, who gives a shit what a fucking thought thinks? Especially someone like Hawk Tuah. Hawk Tuah was famous for doing this thing of spitting on a microphone. I never saw the video. I didn't care about it, but a crypto company offered the Hawk Tuah girl, I think it was $145,000 to promote this cryptocurrency. She took the money, she promoted it, and she also got a little bit of cash herself. Now, what ended up happening with this particular crypto is that when the crypto started being bought, the initial investors of it, and this is a fairly common scam, they jumped in and they would immediately buy the coins up at a profit from the people they were selling, and then they would just hold on to it and they would wait for it to hit a certain amount. And apparently that amount was several hundred, like tens of millions of dollars. And then they would dump the coins all at once and just leave and take the money. The Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah, that is the common scam with crypto. Yeah.
The whole thing with this, Jake Paul did this too at one point, which is why I'm not a fan of Jake Paul. The whole situation, the Hawk Tuah girl, I haven't seen the Coffeezilla video on her. Coffeezilla, though, is another one of those guys like James O'Keefe and a couple of other investigative reporters that really dot the I's and cross the T's. Now, the Hawk Tuah girl may have been, I don't know all of the details because I haven't watched the entire video, but it looks very much like the Hawk Tuah girl got kind of stuck holding the bag because she was the one who was the front person in promoting it. I'm not entirely certain whether she actually benefited from any of the selling of the coins in this crypto scam, but she was paid a fairly substantial amount of money up front to promote it, and that's why it was called the Hawk Tuah coin, and why it's being called the Hawk Tuah scam, because she was paid a huge amount of money up front to do the promotion. Hawk Tuah is saying that she was scammed and ripped off herself. We're gonna have to pull a wait and see on that. If she's not arrested, she will get arrested very soon. They will have to at least hold her and either hold her in jail or have her on house arrest or something like that, or on bail, pending an investigation into what happened. And and while I barely knew who this Hawk Tuah girl was until I actually started looking and I found out what she did, and I was even less interested in her after that. And by the way, when I look at Hawk Tuah and I look at her, she's maybe, well, if she really put an effort into her looks and didn't look like a bar sloot, she probably could maybe pull off an 8, maybe a 9, but she's not like stunningly gorgeous. Not a 9. At her best, she could maybe be about an 8. I'm going to say she's probably about a 7. If she wasn't dressing like a bar sloot, she'd probably be like, she could probably pass herself off as an 8. I'd like to think that Coffeezilla is wrong about this person. The only problem is Coffeezilla is an individual who dots the I's and crosses the T's and goes in and goes through the evidence pretty thoroughly. And, it's... Well, we're going to have to hear back from Hawk Tuah girl herself and have her come out with some type of a statement. I am leaning towards that maybe the Hawk Tuah girl knew more than what she was, than more she's letting on. Because, again, right, I'm not at that. I no longer buy into that women are wonderful bullshit. I don't believe for a second. I don't.
Yeah, but into it.
No, I don't. I don't buy into that women are wonderful bullshit anymore. I don't buy into that women are sweet and innocent and never do anything wrong, because I've seen so much of it now that, and what little I have seen of Hawk Tuah suggests that, yes, she would be the type of woman that would do something like this for the money.
Listen, I just got done watching the original video. She's what I call a trailer trash princess.
Yeah, that would be the perfect word. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to turn it over to you, so go ahead.
Well, the only reason why I know anything about it is because I think a couple weeks ago I saw Papa Meat, Meat Canyon, who does all those wonderful cartoons and puts them on YouTube, making fun of celebrities. There's just like one clip where he did the Hawk Tuah girl. I was like, what? But I never got around to researching her. But I just seen the video of her, and I'm gonna say I like Jewish girls. I like my plump girls, but I also love my trailer trash girls. This girl, all class out the window. Okay.
She reeks trailer trash, man. She reeks trailer trash.
You got a Hawk Tuah that thing. Like, whoa. She ain't wrong. She ain't wrong. So I don't know anything about the scandal. I don't know anything about the scam. I do know that the thing about cryptocurrency is it's a quick buck. Yeah, you make a cryptocurrency till everybody buys and then you sell. It's happened pretty much every coin that there is out there, with the exception of Bitcoin and a couple others. So I don't know why people even bother, especially when it's endorsed by a celebrity. That's a big red flag to not invest. When you got somebody like Jake Paul or one of the FaZe clans, the FaZe people did it. Now you got Hawk Tuah girl. When you see a big face on top of any of these coinages, that's a red flag. That's the biggest red flag. That's your warning. Do not invest. However, if you've got a corporation, some standing entity, long-term standing entity that puts up something, that's something you might want to look into. But when you got a brand new coin out of some new trashy icon, you're an idiot if you buy that coin. I'm just going to say, you're a flat out idiot. So, that's just what I know about it. I'm going to get here. Woo, I'd love to meet this girl. Yeah. Yeah, she's the kind of girl that has a baby in her arm and and 3 or 4 toddlers wrestling around at her feet, waiting on that child support. Well, he got you wanting to come and have sex with her in her room, which is right next door to her baby daddy. Trust me, I know from experience. But anyways, not to go further into my let's wrap this up, shall we?
Gonna be a rather let's wrap this up. It's gonna be a rather short show tonight. Yeah, because Roostin laughs. Well, that's okay. I don't mind it being a little bit on the short side for a change. All right, so the next one, and this one's a bit of a fun one. Donald Trump. One of the first things he declared is that he was going he realized one of the big issues right now is the literal and figurative, unfettered, unguarded stuff going on, that's in particular at the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, Canada is a slightly different story. I have worked at a U.S. Consul General before. I can absolutely assure you from what I saw when I was there, that there are not very many naturalized Canadians attempting to get into the U.S. Like, there's not a flood. Like, for instance, people who are born and raised in Canada, there's not a whole lot of them trying to get into the United States. Like, I can assure you that's not happening. What is happening, though, is that you have people from other countries staying in Canada and trying to get into the U.S. that way. So, yes, there is a problem along the northern border. It's not as pronounced as it is in the United States, down the Mexican border, but there is a pronounced problem at the border here, made worse by the fact that Trudeau blew open access to Canada in a way that made what happened in the U.S. seem sedate by comparison. Not in terms of raw numbers, but in raw numbers in terms of the percentages of the population, absolutely. Trump is aware of this. Trump is aware that, all these people, like the ones that are trying to legally enter the United States, are pretty numerous. There are obviously a fair number of people from India and Taiwan and so on and so forth staying in Canada that are attempting to jump the border illegally. So yes, there is a problem. It's not as pronounced as it is in the United States, but there is a problem. And there are points along the border where it is incredibly easy to just simply walk across the border between Canada and the United States completely unmolested. Like, completely unmolested. And Trudeau went to he became the first foreign leader to visit Trump, and he visited Trump in Mar-a-Lago, and they had a discussion. Of course, Trump absolutely despised I won't say he despised it, but he definitely just is not a fan of Trudeau for very obvious reasons. And apparently what happened is that Trump made an offhand joke and saying, yes, well, okay, you're concerned that this 25% tariff is going to destroy the economy. Well, maybe it would destroy the economy if Canada became the 51st state. He was just joking. Somebody overheard that, though, and ran with it. Leftists in Canada are like literally spurging the fuck out over this. And here's the thing, though, in regards to Canada. Trudeau has screwed things up here so badly that there are literally scenarios in Canada right now where it's like 10 years ago, the thought of any type of a political union between Canada and the United States was just absolutely preposterous. Now, in particular, in the province I'm living in, there's a huge number of people in Alberta, for instance, the province that I'm currently residing in, that would love to have Alberta become the 51st state. Now, I don't think the United States would have a problem with Alberta, who, by the way, is the economic engine of Canada at this point. Easily the richest province in Canada, and potentially, in terms of actual wealth being generated per capita in North America, potentially the richest per capita, not in terms of a straight up dollar, but in terms of per capita, the richest area in North America. I think the United States wouldn't mind if Alberta ended up becoming a state. And oh, by the way, it would probably be a red state. It would be very culturally similar to Texas. And, like there's a lot of people in Canada. And of course, they were a military intervention. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of people in Canada that would roll. If Trump sent the military up here, there would be people in Canada rolling out the red carpet for them. Seriously. There would be people in Canada rolling out the red carpet for him. Trudeau is that unpopular right now.
Save us from Trudeau.
Oh yeah, no, they would absolutely. Yeah, they would roll out the red carpet for him, and I would not that I would really blame them for doing it. A lot of places in Canada wouldn't put up any type of a fight at all, if it happened. Now there are scenarios. I don't think obviously it was a joke, and I don't think it's going to happen. But there are a couple of scenarios where it could happen, and neither one of those scenarios is as far-fetched as they were even a year ago. And, again, there's a lot of, well, we're not the United States. We have free healthcare. Well, man, I was literally talking about the healthcare system that Canada has at topic number 2. The healthcare system in Canada ain't that fucking great, right? There are some cultural idiosyncrasies between Canada and the United States that would probably have to get fleshed out. There are some ways that Canada does its budget versus how the Americans do their budget that would have to get fleshed out, but it is workable. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is literally the first time in my lifetime that, even though it was an offhand comment from Donald Trump, I think a lot of people, at least in Canada anyway, are taken aback at how many Canadians are going, hell yeah, let's do it. Because I can absolutely assure you 10 years ago, myself included, my response would have been, fuck no. And that tells you about how shitty the situation here has gotten in Canada. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
The problem with Alberta, the 51st state, is that, well, the rest of Canada would have to come with it. And I say this is because of our flag. We can't have 51 stars on our flags. We would literally have to chop up the rest of Canada into 54, 50 states.
Well, you'd have to you would have to admit each province as a state is what would probably have to happen, not Canada as a whole.
Well, what I'm saying is you have to have enough land mass to make 50 more states. We'd have to be 100 states strong. We'd have to double the stars on the flag in order to make that happen. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be 50 exactly. I mean, we could turn Puerto Rico into a state. Want to be a state, as far as I know. Texas has been wanting to succeed from the United States for a little while here. The only thing that's keeping Texas on, and which nobody realizes, is Trump. Texans love Trump. So it's kind of one of those reasons why Trump had to win. Because, yeah, we have secessionists. There's secessionists here in California. They want to split up California to freaking 5 different states, which, of course, in the Constitution of, I'm not sure about California, but the Constitution of Texas, it states that it has the right to break up into different states of its own and succeed from the country. It has the right. I think it's the only state in the union that has it in contract with the rest of the union that it can succeed whenever it feels like it. So, if Texas were to succeed, I think a graph for Alberta would be more likely of a idea than a joke. That's all I have on that.
Jesus, it keeps muting on me here. Okay, let's just get this done here. All right. So, again, if Rooston was around, we probably would have a lot more to say on this, but he is not around tonight, so we're just going to get this done fairly quickly here to wrap this up, because I wouldn't mind going to bed early for a change. Again, you're starting to see this happen everywhere. And I remember I was talking about this with number one. Joe Biden, like they're trying to rush things through in the United States to get them through before Trump takes office. Well, the same thing is happening up here. Trudeau knows that his goose is cooked. As it currently stands, the Conservatives are going to get the CPC, the Conservative Party of Canada, is going to get a super majority in the next election. And while they keep trying to reverse this trend, it's just not working. So what is going on here is Justin Trudeau is trying to rush stuff in, like the anti-hate internet law bill C-63. He's arbitrarily issuing more bans. He's starting to get a little, like I was talking about on the last episode here, like he's getting a little bit more heavy-handed with his critics. Like he's doing all of these things. It's like, and like Daniel Smith herself, the Premier of Alberta, had to go on the record and say, it's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious that Trudeau is basically trying to ruin the country before Pierre Poilievre gets in, so that Pierre Poilievre has to spend the first 6 months to year of his tenure as Prime Minister fixing the damage that Justin Trudeau is doing. And this one just can't. I mean, I thought that automatic guns had been banned, but apparently they're not. But here's the really weird part about this. They're going to confiscate all of these automatic weapons and they're going to send them to the Ukraine. No, I am not making that up. And yes, all privately held automatic weapons in Canada are not only banned, but the Canadian government is going to confiscate them and they are going to package them all up and they are going to send all of these automatic weapons over to the Ukraine. That's the plan. Yeah, I wish I was lying about that. Can't say I'm overly surprised. This is Justin Trudeau. I keep hoping that a meteor is maybe going to drop on him, but it's not going to happen. I keep hoping that Jagmeet Singh is not going to do anything until he actually qualifies for his pension, which isn't until February of next year. It's not that far off, but it's still like far enough off that, Justin Trudeau has plenty of time to do a lot. He doesn't actually have to call an election for another 11 months. So he has plenty of time to do an absolutely horrific amount of damage. And yeah, it's unfortunately Rearson chose to leave. I guess the gimp suit was making his skin chafe or something like that. But you know what? Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, go get some more baby oil.
Yep. So with that, V, take this out and we can be done for tonight.
Meat scene. Sounds like a euphemism for masturbation. Anyways. Yeah, no, we have not been able to really hold the attention of Rearson there ever since those 3,000 bottles of oil.
Yeah, he just hasn't been himself. Yep, he just hasn't been himself. And we all know why.
3,000 bottles of baby oil, going off for auction. Oh, yeah. So I think this is going to be one more reason why the world hates Ukraine. We're literally taking the guns. You gotta look at the bigger picture here. Taking away your God-given right for self-defense, which is in the form of your automatic machine guns, your automatic weapons, and giving them over to the Nazis over in Ukraine. The world cannot get more ass backwards than that. And yes, I'm calling the Ukrainians Nazis. There's the overwhelming. We've seen it all. We've seen how they use the old Nazi memorabilia, the old Nazi flags and symbolism. The Ukrainians are racist as all hell. I've already talked about how they treated black people on the show. Ukraine's kind of the worst of the worst. It's kind of the toilet seat. It's the bathroom of the New World Order. I mean, what do you do in the bathroom? You take a dump. I don't know, snort some lines. Maybe rape a woman. I'm sorry, grape. It's like the worst place. They had all the human trafficking, the drug running, the mafias there. It's just not a good place. I know I had a few, a couple Ukrainian girls trying to entice me to come there to come to their UFO conferences. It's like, as beautiful as you girls are, I'm not saying no one was for. God knows I've been kidnapped and freaking murdered. Yeah, no. Yeah, just because I'm American. Yeah. The black Ukrainians, yes. Oh, they're treated horribly. No source of names publicly. Out loud. You know, the same racist epithets used anywhere else. And yet, America and the rest of the free world wants to keep Ukraine. No, they're better off just being pushed by Russia and annexed, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna half of the Ukrainians felt that way anyways. Really divided amongst itself. And so lots of Ukrainians feel they are by blood, which is why Russia, which is why from the beginning, America does not show the fact that so many Ukrainians support Russia. Okay? And no, these aren't the neo-Nazis. Okay, it's the neo-Nazis that want liberation from Russia. Talk about Nazis and the all of that. You know, it's really serendipitous that does support. He's not Ukraine because Germany, Nazi Germany, back in the day, they got all their ideas of eugenics and racial superiority in the U.S. Okay, when the U.S. freed slaves, that wasn't the end of it. The governments and the institutions tried many ways to genocide blacks after the liberation. Okay, and the idea of all racial superiority, this eugenic propaganda was learned from the U.S. So really, again, it's serendipitous that oh yeah, we have our influence over there, and we're still pushing that influence covertly, of course, and under propaganda, UN type propaganda, to make it seem like they're the good guys and we're the good guys and we're doing the best for the world, which is total garbage. We're supposed to have a border issues between the UN and Russia. Okay, us and our involvement with Ukraine is the reason why the war started to begin with, because we started supplying them with weapons to war against Russia anyways. We broke the treaty. It wasn't Russia. A lot of people do not know that. They don't understand that because they don't know anything about history. So yeah, the United States has the rest of the free world. You know, got Canada. Want to give up your guns? Give up your guns, Canada. Give us a good cause. Give it to Ukraine. Yeah, sure. Yeah. What a load of complete and utter treasonous garbage. And with that, I'm done.
I'm actually kind of glad that it's a short show tonight. I'm running out of gas. I actually am looking forward to getting to bed here in the next half hour to an hour here, getting some decent sleep since probably Saturday. Well, actually, no, since Friday. So thanks for showing up tonight. Like I said,
Well,
we will be doing a P Diddy the Korea situation. I'm going to contact Jaffe on. We will also do Syria probably on the same show. We'll have Mark on, and and we got plenty of time to do P Diddy, so we'll get around to doing P Diddy probably when I get back into town. But this is it for me out at the work site. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening tonight, and we will see you